You're listening to Community Heroes podcast featuring people sharing about their stories with their disabilities. And now for your hosts, Brandon and Pate.
Welcome back to Community Heroes Podcast. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the Canada Paralympian sled hockey player, Billy Bridges. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Can you talk about your disability and what it is?
I was born with a disability called spina bifida. It affects the nerves in your spinal cord before you're even born, and it basically affected the way that my legs grew and the muscles that were able to fire and all the nervous system below my belly button. In terms of my disability, I'm pretty lucky though. It could have been a lot worse. I have full feeling and I can walk with crutches and play sports, and I don't have a shunt or hydrocephalus in the brain, which is quite frequent with the disability. So I'm pretty lucky.
Of course, growing up and being able to play sports, how was that able and what was that like playing sports with a disability?
I mean, finally being able to find sports that are played by people of all abilities was such a game changer. I was no longer crawling on the ground trying to play mini sticks with my friends running around the driveway. So it was pretty incredible taking my first push onto the ice in a sled and being able to play wheelchair basketball and all of these sports against people in the same playing field was pretty special.
What was that like, obviously getting into sled hockey from your time playing wheelchair basketball?
Yeah, every Canadian growing up wants to play hockey when they get older, and I didn't know that there was a way to play hockey growing up. So a wheelchair basketball coach named Jeff Penner introduced all of his athletes to different sports all the time, and one of them was sledge hockey, and it was just such an amazing feeling being able to put my sled on the ice and strap in and take that first push and right away get to play the game of hockey.
Of course, how is that feeling like getting to put on your first sleds and get to strap in to play hockey?
It certainly feels strange, that's for sure. And as anyone can attest to, disabled or able-bodied, a brand new sport is kind of daunting, and especially a sport that comes with equipment. But that's the amazing thing about a sport like sledge hockey is there's sleds out there for every single disability. So there's not really any excuse for anyone to not feel comfortable that they're gonna be able to use this equipment and fall in love with the sport.
How is that like, obviously getting to play adaptive sports at such a high level?
I mean, it certainly changed everything growing up. Being able to get that goal setting and being able to chase after and achieve those goals and really gives me something to strive for. And it's also taken me around the world to over 35 countries and all these amazing experiences that I never would have had if I didn't find sport.
What was that feeling like getting into sled hockey and getting to be with some of the teammates that you grew to know and be around people with the same disabilities and in the disability community?
Well, it certainly makes you feel included instantly when you jump into these sports, and it's so easy to find people with similar disabilities and similar upbringings and similar stories, but it's also pretty inspiring to meet a lot of people with different disabilities that really had to go through go through a lot to be where they are today, and a lot of military veterans and just true heroes out there become Paralympic athletes, and it's a pretty special community to be a part of.
What was that feeling like getting to go to your first Paralympics and get to be in that movement of being a Paralympian?
Yeah, I found out about the Paralympics just a couple months before Nagano, and I remember trying to get the updates on those games and really wishing that one day I'd be able to get there. And I was only 13 at the time, and 3 months later, after Nagano, a couple months after my 14th birthday, I went to my first tryouts and made Team Canada, and it was it was pretty incredible feeling back then. But I really don't think I really appreciated what it was actually, what the whole situation would have actually been like. The average age was 45 on the team at the time, and being a 14-year-old punk kid must have been pretty strange, but being able to go to Salt Lake City in my first games was, just an incredible experience. And being able to have my family there in the crowd at the opening ceremonies while like Donny Osmond was playing and there's 70,000 people, it must have been a game-changing experience for my parents, that's for sure.
Of course, in 2006, what was that like being a young athlete and going to the Paralympics for the first time?
Well, in 2006 was my second games, and I was still pretty young when I look back at it, but I certainly had all the expectations in the world. I was only, I guess, 21 years old, but I'd already been on the team for 7 years, so it was nothing new, and we didn't medal in Salt Lake City, so it was we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to succeed in Torino, and really, it made that special to be able to win that.
Of course, how did that feel to win that and bring home a gold medal and being your first gold medal win?
Sure, yeah, it was pretty special. We won the World Championships in 2000, and then until 2006, we didn't win a single thing. So it was pretty incredible to be the underdog and beat Norway 3-0 like we did in the gold medal game, and being able to share that with all my teammates was pretty special.
Of course, how was the training like with a disability and training with your team to prepare for the 2014 Sochi Games?
Well, certainly after not medaling in Vancouver, it made us have to change our mentality completely and change the way that we approach the game. And we knew that we'd never want to go to the Paralympics again and not win a medal. And we finally started realizing what that was going to take, and certainly changed all of our training regimen. And like, our disabilities used to be an excuse of why we couldn't do a lot of training and a lot of different stuff, and we found a way to make it work around that.
How was obviously competing in Sochi helped you to then compete in 2016 in Pyeongchang?
Sorry, repeat that question again.
What was it like in 2014 competing in Sochi to then go on to compete in 2016?
Um, we didn't want to lose that semifinal game, that's for sure, like we did in Sochi. But seeing that our team could battle back in that bronze medal game and not get denied a medal again like we had in the past was pretty special to share that with those guys. And our team stayed, pretty similar leading up into Pyeongchang, but our staff changed completely, and it brought a whole different mindset and different culture and higher expectations.
Of course, what were some of your favorite memories and moments competing in Pyeongchang?
Um, Pyeongchang was beautiful. The village was up in the mountains and close to the alpine skiing events, and we'd have to drive all the way down to the coast to play our games in the hockey rinks. And it was so wonderfully well done. It was pretty special, and it's always so exciting to go into those same venues and same dorms and cafeterias that all the Olympians just did when you finish watching the Olympics. And I'm an Olympics junkie, so I watch every sport, and it's pretty special to be able to share that space with them. And Pyeongchang was pretty amazing.
Of course, after the Pyeongchang, what were some of the things that you were doing and working with the disability community before you obviously went to Beijing?
Yeah, I mean, 2 years before Pyeongchang, we had our first daughter. She's now 7-year-old Kenzie. And you know, it kind of changed everything with my mentality of being on the team, and certainly made me appreciative, you know, how much I needed to start giving back. And you know, I started taking a bigger role in my wife's hockey school that she's been running for 24 years. And you know, I joined the accessibility standards committee in Ontario here for a province-wide advisory committee, and really just tried to find a way to make a difference, not just, you know, now no longer just in my own life, but in everybody's.
Of course, how is that like obviously getting your daughter to see you compete at such a high level?
Um, I mean, it's important to me to teach her the value of success after hard work, but you know, she doesn't want anything to do with hockey. She just wants to be a rainbow princess unicorn fairy. So it takes a lot different effort to inspire my daughter, that's for sure, but she keeps me on my toes.
How has that been like obviously being a part of boards and bringing awareness to those people that don't know about disability sports?
Yeah, I mean, in the last year or so, I've joined a lot of committees and a couple accessibility boards, and I'm now the accessibility coordinator for a professional women's hockey team here in Toronto. And you know, it's mostly about educating the staff at the facilities. You know, it's a lot of these inaccessible places are not going to be, you know, they're not going to be changing in the next year or so. So it's trying to educate the staff that work there of how we can make it work and work together, and that, you know, to make a place accessible, you don't necessarily have to break the bank or you know, raise $100,000 to put in, you know, extremely special stuff. It's, you know, disabled people just make it work every day. You know, it's not like anyone lowers the curb for us. We try to find a way, and that's what it's all about, trying to educate.
How's that been like obviously working with the Women's Hockey League, in particular the Toronto Six, and bringing awareness to adaptive sports and how to obviously have more accessible for people with wheelchairs?
Yeah, certainly. It was a role that I just kind of fell into with my wife becoming president of the hockey team. And you know, we had a lot of different kind of needs, people with needs coming to our game or wanting to come to our games, and there's a lot of reasons why they couldn't. And you know, my wife kind of appointed me to the role and said, hey, figure it out. And you know, it's been kind of exciting to do a lot of learning and a lot of figuring out of what people actually need, and how many different needs there are out there, you know, from providing a sensory kit with you know, a weighted blanket and earmuffs and you know, noise canceling earmuffs and fidget toys and stuff to help keep you know, some people busy while family or caregivers could watch a hockey game, or you know, wheelchair seating that has cup holders and you know, makes you feel like you're a part of the game. And it's pretty exciting and pretty fun to be a part of that, that's for sure.
What has that been like obviously helping those people with disabilities still be a part of the game, even if they're not able to compete in obviously hockey like you have been able to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm an advocate for everyone with a disability and without to get into sport no matter what. And you know, the incredible thing about Paralympic sport is that there's sport out there for everyone. You don't have to be the most able-bodied single foot amputee out there to be able to compete in a lot of these Paralympic sports, and that's what's pretty incredible about it, that there's something for everyone, and I'm definitely an advocate for that, and obviously just an advocate for independence for people with a disability and like myself who are trying to raise a family and do everything by ourselves, because a lot of us don't want assistance and don't want help with every single thing, and that means we got to figure it out. So it's trying to raise awareness for that.
What was that feeling like getting to go to Beijing in 2020 to obviously compete for the last time as a Paralympian?
Last time, I don't think so. I'll still keep going. Yeah, I mean, Beijing Paralympics was pretty special. Being able to just compete during the pandemic obviously was just and such a privilege that I never even thought was going to be possible leading up to it. And I actually contracted COVID less than a month before the Paralympics too. So even me going right up to the very deadline day was still up in the air. And so it was pretty stressful, but pretty awesome to be a part of that. And, it was my 6th games, but hopefully there's more in the future.
Of course, what are some of your favorite memories and moments so far competing in sled hockey?
I think it's just all the people, all the teammates that I've had, and a lot of the opponents that I've had, and how special it is to share all of our experiences together. And a lot of my hockey team was at my wedding, and my best man was my teammate, and it's just all these connections that you make that last for the rest of your life.
What has that been like, obviously, getting to share that moment with your friends and family going to the Paralympics to see you compete?
Um, Yeah, I mean, it's been different for every single Paralympic Games. My mom passed away shortly after Pyeongchang, and it was pretty strange going to Beijing without her support and kicking the pants, that's for sure. But now it's changed, and now it's my daughter that's watching and cheering and staying up way too late to watch Daddy on TV. So it's pretty special to have that support.
How's it been like, obviously, being a veteran of the team and obviously mentoring those young people that were once you at your first Paralympics?
Yeah, I mean, last year on the team, like over half the team wasn't even born before I made the team. So it's definitely it's come full circle, that's for sure. And I always felt that the best way to be a leader is to learn from the new guys, and to just keep competing and keep pushing everyone, because you just make everyone else better.
What are some of the challenges and obstacles that you have overcome being a sled hockey athlete?
Sure. I mean, yeah, I guess there's been injury, there's been disappointment, there's been loss, there's been some deaths from teammates on our team, and being in the Paralympics, sometimes it involves disabilities or ailments that end up coming back, and that's such a hard thing to go through, when your teammates go through that. And but it's such a tight community that it just brings everybody together, and you really realize how important Paralympic sport is in so many lives.
How's that like, obviously, getting to meet your fans and having them ask you how to get into adaptive sports?
Sure, I just try to educate and point people in the right direction. Most communities now have something in place, and just Googling that and searching it out is the most important thing.
What has that been like, obviously, getting to work with some of those young athletes that are looking to get into adaptive sports?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty special to be able to just share that life-changing experience with those kids, and also their families as well, to get them excited about what the future can hold. It's pretty awesome to be a part of that at the grassroots.
What are some of the things that you're doing outside of being a Paralympian?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a full-time dad. So I love being a father and being as active as I can with her. And we coach her hockey team, and I train her in tennis, and I just love being a part of that. I'm also on several accessibility committees and just trying to trying to make a difference in the facilities in Ontario and make it accessible for all and push towards that.
Of course, what are some of your future plans with working with the Toronto Six in your new role?
Sure. I mean, just trying to get people to a hockey game that never thought it would be possible, and trying to figure out how to make that work. And at the end of the day, I feel like that's an important thing for most businesses. It's an untapped resource of the disabled person with a lot of excuses, and trying to help them get rid of all of that is only gonna, enrich their lives, but also help out the business as well.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to get into adaptive sports?
To just be comfortable with being uncomfortable. Taking that first step into adaptive sport is can be a little bit daunting, and just appreciate that. All the best Paralympic athletes out there started off not even being able to strap into their sled or their wheelchair, or if they're curling, they can never get the rock to stay in the house, or everyone starts from ground, like from the ground up, but taking that first step and is just a massive step in the amazing direction that can change your entire life.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to get into sled hockey and compete as a professional or even recreational?
Sure. I mean, sledge hockey is a perfect example of adaptive sport that anyone can play, and it brings everyone to the same playing field. And I played with my able-bodied father and brother growing up, and it was pretty awesome to be able to have that experience and bring them down to my level. And it's just pretty exciting sport to play and to watch, and I definitely would recommend it to everyone.
What advice would you give people such as yourself that are working with a professional team to bring more awareness to people with disabilities to include them in the sport?
Sure. I definitely recommend to get feedback, to find someone like myself who can really broaden your diversity in your staff, to just kind of bring awareness to different parts of our population that aren't necessarily already utilizing your brand, or coming to your events or your games, and trying to figure out a way to make that work, and just start asking questions, and you'd be surprised at how many answers you start getting really fast.
What advice would you give those people that are looking to become future Paralympians?
um that getting to the highest level is hard, but nobody does it alone. And to just surround yourself with the most positive group that you can, and just stay positive yourself as you keep going. It 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 just clicks one day, and you truly get a grasp on the sport, and it's all worth it.
What advice would you give those people such as yourself that have competed in multiple Paralympics?
Retire so I keep the record. No, just joking. It's just, the more you get to stay at the highest level of sport, the more opportunities you get, in the more incredible people that you get to meet. So it's all worth it in the end.
That's great advice. Where can our listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, I'm Billy Bridges 18 on Instagram and Twitter.
Thank you again, Billy Bridges, for your interview, and best of luck in your future as a Canada Paralympian Para sled hockey athlete.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on.
Thank you. You can find Community Heroes on Facebook at Community Heroes, Instagram at Community Heroes_NC, Twitter at com_heroes, and you can find us on YouTube at officially Community Heroes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Billy Bridges, for your interview, and best of luck in your future.
Thank you, you too.
You are watching Community Heroes. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Community Heroes on social media and on YouTube.